Agile series. The topic is measure what matters, the DORA way to drive real results. So it is organized by PMIPCC Hyderabad chapter. And yeah, so this is just to begin with. I said you can go ahead to some of the fundas, project management fundas here. Talks more about project managers' roles in building self-focused or high-performing teams. Can go through this. Yeah, so here are certain ground rules. So take this as an opportunity for networking with colleagues and whoever joined in this meeting. And you can post all your questions using chat in the chat box. And then, as you know, one PDO will be credited for this. Those who have joined this session, one PDO will be automatically credited for this webinar. Okay. Yeah. So the topic, as I said, is measure what matters, the DORA way to drive real results. Okay, so and it would be delivered by Miss Dipti. Okay, so she is an agile coach at FedEx, and she comes with a 16 years of enriching experience in IT and has a deep expertise in agile transformation. And she's currently serving as an agile coach, safe practice consultant, and an organizational change leader. Currently, she is pursuing her ICF PCC certification in career and leadership coaching. And when I was talking to her the other day, I just asked her, "So what defines you?" So she said, "A disruptor is what I define myself." So I would like to hear more about that from her in today's session. And she also comes as I said, one of her most accomplishment is she has trained around 1,000 professionals across various safe frameworks and driving their mindset. So I would like to introduce all to you about Dipti. So, Dipti, please take over from here now. Thank you.
Thanks for the introduction, Umesh. Probably you can start the recording and you can stop sharing your screen so that I can start sharing my screen.
Thank you, Dipti. I'll do that.
Sorry. All right, you all can view my screen.
Yes, Dipti, we can.
Perfect. Browse this so that. Firstly, very good evening, all of you. Hope you're all doing good, at least busy, and thanks for taking time and joining over this weekend. Hope I'm audible to everyone. If I'm not audible, disrupt me now itself. But I would raise my pitch as well as I'm progressing. This is an interesting title to me. Measure what matters, the DORA way to drive the real change. DORA to me, living the agile world, being a mother of a 11-year-old girl, and all this 10 years, Dora to me is a cartoon character which holds a map and which guides people towards the destinations. But when I'm stepped into the world of Agile, again 10 years back, from the last 10 years, metrics was something else to me. But the last few years, I don't say down the lane, but I say from the last 4 to 5 years, we are hearing Dora a lot. So whenever I hear this word Dora, I connect, there is a strong connection between the cartoon character Dora and the Dora metrics because both drive us to the way where we have to be or our destinations. What is actually metrics to you? Are they numbers? Are they dashboards? Are they nightmares for any of you? Oh, tomorrow I have to send this dashboard. Tomorrow I have to send this metrics report. Tomorrow I need to have this a scale of measurement or a ruler, something that for this sprint I delivered this many number of story points. Next sprint, my manager or my management has asked me to increase by 10% or raise by 10 story points. This is all our assumptions, right? Or these are our hard realities which we are facing in the day in, day out of the work. But is there any outcome that we are driving out of the metrics? And also, the metrics are not just numbers. And there is a story which you can write for the benefit of your team, for the benefit of individual, for the benefit of, say, a specific role. Everyone has their own story with respect to that number, right? And also every data point tells you a story. So metrics are not just numbers. If that there are output metrics and outcome metrics. So focus on the outcome metrics. What is an outcome metrics? What are traditional metrics? What is the illusion of the progress? In the past, even today, if I ask any Scrum Master, they say like, what kind of metrics are you tracking at your team level? The first answer they give is velocity. I can see some smiles on your faces. I can relate that, though I don't see you uh, as your cameras are off. But most of the people can echo with me. Even today, you ask some manager, you ask some leader, you ask a Scrum team member, the first thing they say, what metrics is your team tracking? They will say velocity, or they say predictability. They say say-do ratio. They say burn down chat, burn up chat. Don't you think it's a mirage in the desert? Can those metrics be manipulated? I can manipulate my say-do ratio, saying like I can commit less and deliver more. I can increase the story pointer where it's a damn 3-story pointer story to an 8-story pointer and say, hey, this is what it's an 8-story pointer. My number of story points which I have committed in the last sprint versus which I have committed this sprint has been increased by 10%. Are we driving productivity out of it? Are we delivering the business value out of it? Are we improving the speed of delivery? Are we making the fast failure? Are we doing all this? Still, our velocity increases, but the time to market still remains the same, right? We all know agile is culture, agile is mindset, right? Living off the culture, we need to build the muscle. We're not just enough with our mental strength, right? For a simple individual, we also need our physical strength along with our mental strength. Here comes our mental strength. Is your agile? But what about your physical strength? We're all talking about the war now. We are all looking at the news channels, following the operations Indur and everything. Is there any chance or any tolerance for failure in the war field? It's a zero tolerant war field. When we are going for the war, we don't plan like we need to kill this many number of people. We just predict saying like, hey, we need to attack these places or we need to destroy these places. And we will also have a backup plan with a zero change failure rate and also with the mean time to recover, which is like if something goes wrong, how fast I can come back to my previous destination or how I need to move forward. If I don't have that plan, imagine the situation. If I just say like, hey, I got failed, I'm dead over there. The similar way, you need to develop the muscle of deployment. You need to develop the muscle of your pipeline efficiency. With the great infrastructure, with the great architecture, with the great mindset of agile, you can have a faster time to market. And there comes as DORA. Not the DORA, which I have spoken as a cartoon character. DORA stands for DevOps, research assessment, where Google came up with this term called as DORA metrics by assessing 30,000 plus Scrum teams, and they came up with this term called as DORA. Can DORA be a magic? Is it something that we are doing on a fly? No, without knowing the name itself. Say, I heard DORA in 2020. That's the time I heard the word DORA. From the last 4 to 5 years, I'm hearing the word DORA metrics. Prior to that, we also spoke about Amazons of the world. We also spoke about Apples. They're existing prior to 2020 as well. And why Amazon is popular till today? They do almost 1.6 deployment. As per 2014 itself, they do 1.6 deployment every day, per day. That was the deployment frequency in 2014. They're speaking about the number of deployments they do per day, number of deployments they do per month, number of deployments they do per sprint, per week, whatever might be. They have the deployment frequency. Probably they may not have the kind of automation or the kind of the tools which we have today at that point, but still we were deploying at that point in time. Like Agile didn't change the entire world, but Agile has tightened the some nuts which was there in the waterfall to Agile. The similar way DORA was also existing prior calling it as DORA. But now we are very fortunate to learn what DORA metrics is. If you could see, these are the 4 metrics that talks about the DORA metrics. These are the 4 key line items in the DORA metrics. The deployment frequency, the lead time for change failure rate, and the mean time to restore. Deployment frequency is like simple definition, which is like count on the number of deployments per week. Oh, should I need to count only on the deployments per week? If you and your organization are also doing deployment per day, deployment per hour, deployment per second, connect the tool, integrate your tool with your DevOps pipeline, with your continuous integration Jenkins, with your continuous deployment pipelines, and estimate your pipeline efficiency, measure your deployment frequency. Lead time for change, time between the code commit to production, the change failure rate, number of failed deployments versus the total deployments. So your organization success or the faster time to market is depending upon your change failure rate. Imagine the battlefield. There is no chance of change failure rate. You need to shell down whatever you have taken with and come back empty-handed, right? That's the mantra that is being told to the fighter planes pilots, saying like you need to shell down all the weight and come back much fast. And the mean time to recover from failure, which is the MTTR, the mean time for recovery. We can also say that mean time for recovery either to move forward, make the correction and move forward, or come back to your previous stage rather than having a deployment failure. That is the way. And how to measure this is like integrate with your pipelines, integrate with your code repositories, and beautiful AI tools are there to generate the metrics today. How everyone looks with you. Umesh, when he is giving my introduction, have mentioned I'm a disruptor. Can I disrupt everyone the same way? Whatever the message that I'm communicating to you would not be the same message that I communicate to the Scrum Master, may not be the same message that is being received by the product owner, may not be the same message that is being received by the product manager, right? Everyone has a role to play in that. Deployment frequency from the lens of a Scrum Master is different. Lead time from the lens of a manager is different. From the lens of a developer is different. The mean time to restore from the lens of your SRE, the site reliability engineer, and from the lens of the developer are different. Everyone has their own standards. How I can read this metrics? Say, for example, I just took two examples. I have a higher lead time and a low deployment. Where is like if I go back, I have a higher lead time, the time to commit, time between the code commit and production, and a very low deployment where my deployment frequency is very low. What do I need to do? What should I need to do? Me being a Scrum Master, you have a higher lead time, meaning like I have committed and it's taking too long and my deployment is not happening frequently. You remember the DevOps concept set by the Scaled Agile framework? Calmer approach, where C stands for culture, A stands for automation, L stands for lean flow, M stands for measurement, and R stands for recover, right? So when I said lean flow, small batches go through the system much faster. Being the Scrum Master, what is the factor that is contributing for a higher lead time? I work with the PO. I work with the subject matter expert, being the Scrum Master, and educate them about the slicing of the user stories. And I will also look at the WIP limits. Is my team having too much work in progress? What should I need to do to have reduced WIP limits? What should do I need to do as a Scrum Master to look at the low lead time, to have a low lead time rather than a very high lead time, because it's consuming most of my time. I can draw multiple number of stories, multiple number of action items. This metrics is not just related to DevOps. This metrics is also related to Agile, because Agile is a mindset and DevOps is the muscle which helps us to maintain the speed and trust, and speed and stability as well. So as a Scrum Master, I look at this as a different. Being the PO with higher lead time and low deployment, PO looks at what is causing that higher lead time. Being an architect, high lead time versus low deployment, are there any enablers that are required? Is my architectural runway that is available for the developers to work on it much quickly and have a faster deployment? Being an RTE, is it an emergent design which is limited only for a Scrum team that is having this kind of metric, or is it the same kind of pattern that is being repeated across the Scrum teams or across the features in the release train? So everyone has a different lens to look at each of metrics. I have a high change failure rate, which means the definition of change failure is failed deployments total by total deployment. What is it causing? I'm a DevOps coach. I'm a DevOps engineer. I need to see what's happening with my pipeline. Is it the problem with the code quality? Or is it the problem of my pipeline? How is it been, or the problem with the automation? Do I need to plan for training, or do I need to have my prioritized quality spikes, or do one entire sprint on the quality, focusing on the quality? Or do I need to have only enablers being done so that I build the great pipeline? What is my pipeline efficiency today? That will be taken care by your platform teams, and RTE works over there. Is it just one team build got failure, or is it lot of feature after the integration it got failure? Lot of things can be, retrospected when you are looking into the DORA metrics. Good deployment versus bad MTTR. Say I have a deployment frequency, I deploy like almost 5 to 6 deployments every time, every day, and that's a constant raise as well. But whenever there is a failure of the build, I'm struck. It takes like almost 3 to 5 days or 3 to 5 hours or whatever might be, depending on the nature of the organization that you work, based on the number of deployments you have. What is the downtime? What is the downtime of the application? Bad MTTRs bite the company in a huge way. These are all the metrics that tells you a lot of stories. Being Scrum Master, I don't know in which role you are today, but you might be a Scrum Master, you might be a product owner, you might be an SRE, you might be a program manager, doesn't matter. Tomorrow, when you go to your work on Monday, look at the DORA metrics of your organization. If it is not being followed, start implementing to follow from one sprint. Then you can have a lot of stories. You can start improving yourself. The metrics, which is a mirage in the desert, to the metrics which takes you to the reality. Those are output metrics. These are outcome metrics, which helps you to have good points for your retrospections. And these metrics are something that help you to guide in a long run. So how I can have, Dipti, you have mentioned about the integrations, you have spoken about a lot of tools, AI tools and all. This WIS tool is something, me being working in FedEx as an agile coach, we started the WIS tool. Previously, it was called as Plan View. Now it is called as WIS. This tool we have integrated with our Jenkins, with our code repositories, and we are tracking in the dashboards. This is not the FedEx metrics, by the way, because I'm not eligible to share those. I just took the image, and there are other tools like Jira, Align, GitLab, Azure DevOps, which focus on the DORA metrics. This makes the DORA metrics very much visible. And also, from tomorrow, if you're talking about this metrics, this gives you a lot of things, lot of visibility into how you are slicing and also the work distribution among your team members. Because you slice the user stories so that your builds don't get failed. You'll have more deployments. Dipti, you said deployments. Deployments is not possible towards my production every month or every week. I'm working in a very big project. Might be like I do deployments only. You also can have DORA metrics to the staging environment, which is emulating the production environment, which is a practical scenario. You can also see how the deployments are happening to your production environment, produce the results to the management especially, because this helps the Scrum teams in their ways of working and also in the improvement of their infrastructure. Today, you name any Fortune 500 company or the top 10 companies of Fortune 10 companies. Yesterday, when I was preparing for this, I looked at the DORA metrics of the top 10 companies. Unfortunately, I didn't get the exact numbers, but from the first company towards the fifth company itself, the DORA metrics is the crucial factor for them to be in the table because of their deployment frequencies. I release something into production. I release something into the market. Even it is a very slight change that is giving a customer satisfaction. I don't know what tomorrow I see in my WhatsApp status from WhatsApp stating like, hey, you have this new feature. And recently, from the last 1 to 2 months, I have seen almost like 5 to 6 updates in the WhatsApp. Like this has been updated, this has been updated. Now in the status, you can also have the voice being recorded. How many of you have noticed it? So these kind of metrics will help you to understand how many deployments you are doing and how can you improve your deployments? What is your MTTR? What is your change failure rate? These are the outcome metrics. And I know my content would be very short because this doesn't have anything to do with the ways of working, but I have a very key takeaway for all of you. Unlearn the things and learn the new things. You need to unlearn the metrics which we are all using till today, the vanity metrics, and embrace this outcome metrics. The session seems to be very easy and oh, MTTR, oh, what is there in lead time, deployment frequency? What is there in the lead time? Today we are doing this and it's just Jira line produces this or it's this tool that gives it. But it is very hard to develop that muscle and maintain the consistency in the metrics and publish the metrics and introspect and draw inferences out of those metrics. Every role must view metrics through their functional lens. Like I have said, a Scrum Master has a different lens, a product owner has a different lens, a team member might have a different lens. And the AI and automation tools have amplified DORA's power. Now, being an active user of the Wiz tool, I'm seeing a lot of improvement in my Scrum teams where their focus is not on measurements. They are no more bothered about the velocity. They are no more bothered about their say-do ratio. They're just focused on their deployment frequency. They are just focused on their lead time. They're focused on their cycle time. They're not bothered about their velocity anymore. And like I have said, it's not a dashboard or a report. It is a culture. How frequently you integrate, how frequently you deploy. I have seen the scenarios where the code is not merged into the main branch until the day of integration. And they will search where the code is there. It would be laying somewhere in the local branch. And then they will search on which name I have saved, where is my code. And so it's a culture of having the lean flow. It is a culture of continuous integration. It is a culture of continuous deployment. It is a culture and it is a mindset shift. It is not just dashboard or DORA metrics is not a report. So now I'm open. Sorry, Umesh, now I'm open for questions.
Sure. You can stop sharing this. I'll share. I'll take it from here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, everyone. So we
I
are
don't see any questions in the chat. Please, if you have any questions, please drop by.
yes. So we are open for questions, everyone. If you have any questions, please.
How can you reduce high lead time? That's a good question. There are multiple ways to reduce the lead time, like I have said. What is the reason for your high lead time? Is it a big user story? Slice the user story. Is it the knowledge of the team? They could not estimate or size it appropriately, and they were not comfortable. More stories or a bigger story. If it is more stories, what does it mean by having a chunk? Make it into small pebbles so that you can reduce the lead time of a story. And another thing is the knowledge of the team. The team cannot commit. The team cannot estimate appropriately. They said like it's for an 8-pointer user story, they say a 3-pointer. Lack of knowledge. That could be one of the reasons. And also, they could not be able to identify the ways of working. Or there could be a reason of not having the available infrastructure. There could be not having the appropriate architecture. That is the reason everyone has a different lens. Being a Scrum Master, I look at the high lead time as not having appropriate slicing of the user story. Being a product owner, the product owner might think I can split the user story by having some enablers, tech enablers, or an architectural enablers, so that my business value would be very less. But whatever the work involved in the business value, delivering the business value is huge. So you can reduce that. So a lot could be factors. You can explore in the n number of ways with your single question. How can you reduce a high lead time? What are the factors? Slicing the stories, having enablers, having the architectural enablers in not just your whatever you call the research enablers. What if my PO doesn't agree with me? Okay, I'll answer that. Not just with the research enablers, introduce the architectural enablers. That reduces your lead time a lot. So in connection to the previous question itself, I will answer the question, what if my PO doesn't agree with me? For the DORA metrics, you as a Scrum Master or a program manager, it is your role to know what kind of metrics you have to showcase. If your PO is not agreeing, for what kind of metrics are they not agreeing? Are they not agreeing for knowing what deployment frequency you need to have, or what should be your MTTR, or not agreeing for slicing the stories? For slicing the stories, and we all have an assumption that PO has to agree for everything we do. No, PO role is to have the maximize the return on the time invested or return on investment, and make sure the product backlog items PBI turned into the potential shippable items. It is the responsibility of the team during the product refinement calls to say like, hey, this is a huge user story. So we want to split into an enabler, whether it's a development enabler or research enabler or an architectural enabler or an infrastructure enabler, saying like, unless we finish this, we cannot generate the business value. POs or PMs are concerned about the business value being generated. It is the team that should be concerned about the enabling part. So convince your PO with for more what DORA metrics they are not agreeing, and explain them the importance of the DORA metrics. If they say no, ask them, rather than asking why are you saying no, what would be the differentiator if they accept this or if they don't accept this. So don't directly go and ask them like, why are we not doing this? Why are we not following this? Rather, why gives you the reasons, what gives you the options. Any other questions?
So do we have any questions?
If slice the stories doesn't affect the, if slice the stories, does it not affect the time to market? No, gives you more predictability actually. It gives you more predictability. Though you don't slice the stories, if it is the same amount of the work that you have to finish to have that as a potential shippable item into the market, how does slicing affects it? Slicing will not affect. Rather, slicing gives you more predictability, like how much time it takes to hit the market or how much time it takes you to the deployment. It gives you more realistic view. It will not affect the time to market. It is a similar one that you have to do, whether you slice the story or not slice the story. Thank you. Shall we recommend 2 deployments in sprint? Uh, Deployments is based upon your organization. So there is no standard recommendation that how many deployments you have to do per sprint. I know there are organizations with zero deployments. Say, for example, I have worked in Teradata. Teradata is a database organization which develops only just the normal database layer. We have zero deployments. We used to have hardly 3 to 4 deployments once in a quarter. So there is no recommendation for the deployments in a sprint. That varies depending upon your organization. Amazon will have n number of deployments on a single hour per second. They have a lot of deployments. If you ask a recommendation, no, we don't have any deployments. Did you come across any next question? If I have answered you, I'm moving to next question. Did you come across any automation tool to produce DORA metrics? Like I have said, the Beast tool that I'm currently using in FedEx for the DORA metrics. And I have seen Zira Align also publishing the DORA metrics. So these are the automation tools, AI tools, and we have integrated with our Jenkins, and we have integrated these tools with our code repositories to have the DORA metrics. Any other questions, please? How to be prepared for change failure rate and bounce back to use the metrics to drive continuous improvement. Okay. How to be prepared for the change failure rate is like having a backup plan. Especially your change failure rate is like how many builds got failure versus how many total deployments you have done. Right? So what is the reason for the failure? Always have the plan B and have those timestamps being ready. So whenever you are doing the deployment, have the risk management plan as well for it. Like what if the build gets failed to restore back to the previous state? And also bounce back to use the metrics to drive continuous improvement. Uh, if you're talking about the change failure rate, what made to have this change failure? Is it just a piece of code before the integration? Or is it having just a single Scrum team code? Or is it related to only one small feature or one functionality that caused the build failure? So you need to have those quality gates at the first front itself, and then have the change failure rate freed from it. But to drive the continuous improvement process, it is the responsibility of the development team to come up with a plan saying like, hey, because of this, we have failed. And this is the quality things we need to focus upon going forward to reduce the change failure rate. So you need to spend, that's where I have told like lot of quality spikes needs to be taken care when you have to have a zero change failure rate. But no organization can claim that we have a zero change failure rate, because at the end of the day, we are also humans. We also have, it's not a war field to have the 0% change failure rate. In war also, we do have some failures at some point in time. And how do you need to have drive the continuous improvement to use the metrics is depending upon like how you introspect, how you develop the plan, how you maintain the quality documentation, what kind of quality gates or quality checks you keep on, like uh, number of deferred defects or number of automation, percentage of automation that is done before the code integration or after the code integration, doing your SIT properly, doing your PIT properly, having those percentages depending upon your organizational standards makes you to drive the continuous improvement. Hope I have answered you. Any other questions?
Yeah, if you do not have any questions, I think we can move to the next slide. Yeah, please, do you have any questions?
As a Scrum Master, what are your major challenges do you see if you were a SM? Yes, I have seen a lot of challenges when I was introducing DORA metrics, but I was not the Scrum Master at that point in time. I was an agile coach, but still, the first thing is like people were hesitant to have the. I mean, I go back to my slide, the culture of continuous integrating the code. That was the biggest challenge, having the code integration. As soon as you finish a small piece of functionality, which is a user story, people are very, I mean to say that some of the people are like, okay, I don't bother. Why should I integrate immediately with my main branch? Why I should uh, have that build being built? Why I need to have that? And I found a challenge even with the integration teams also. Oh, do we need to publish this metrics? Because everyone, whenever we call that word as a metrics, people get into their own defensive mode that okay, this should not be published, this is not related to me, this is not. But if we start building it as a culture and it's a mindset change that needs to be made, it is not a metric. It is not a metric, though it says like DORA is a metric, or as velocity is a metric, or sprint burn down is a metric, or burn up is a metric. Whenever we hear the word metric and whenever we have to publish it in their own roles, in their own zone, they feel uncomfortable. Rather, make continuous integration as a culture. So that was my biggest challenge. And people were not able to communicate. I had my build failure yesterday. And also, there were days where we have faced a challenges. Sometime in the night, they might have scheduled the build sometime in the night. The build gets failed, and people were not able to respond immediately. And I had a very high mean time to recover. So these were the days in 2019, 2018. We had these challenges, but later on, we made this as a culture. We spoke to people, lot of trainings, lot of culture trainings, rather than calling it as a technology training or a training on the skill set. We did some culture trainings. Being agile coach, I have spoken to them what is challenging them, what is making them to get into that defensive mode when they are tracking this metrics, how they can improve upon. So these challenges we have overcome. Hope I have answered you. Another biggest challenge I can quote when I was speaking is user story slicing, like you have said. Because the biggest challenge was this happened in 2016, 2017, where we used to beg people to speak in our product backlog refinements. Apart from the product owner, none of them used to speak. Then they come back and say like we need to slice this user story. This can be an enabler, this can be an architectural enabler, this can be an infrastructure enabler. So later on people started speaking. Initially when you asked about Scrum Master in 2014, this was the challenge I have faced. Slicing the user stories was my biggest challenge. Any other questions?
So I think, yeah, so
As we are on the top of the hour, I give back to PMIPCC, and thanks a lot for this opportunity, especially Umesh for coordinating this, and Saujanya for all your uh, conversations we had and everything. Thanks the PMIPCC chapter for giving me an opportunity to be part of this Agile web series. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Deepti. It was very insightful session. And to be honest, I when we had this call and you said this Dora Matrix, I had because I used to watch the cartoon and then I went back on Amazon and I watched that Dora movie. It has come, a live movie. It has come, but then today it was very insightful. I understood how Matrix has evolved over the years and what DevOps is playing well, because Agile we only talk about the mental mindset. Now you helped me understand what DevOps is playing role in it. So for me, who has come from a pharma background with limited uh, tools to use in DevOps, so it was very insightful for me at least. Thank you for this, Deepti. And in that, because of that, so what we have from either chapter, it has been we are honored to share you this grow tree ticket wherein we will be planting some, yeah, so it's a small token of appreciation from PMIPCC Hyderabad chapter, where we will be planting 5 trees in Sundarbans National Park, West Bengal, in India. Yeah,
Thank you so much.
thank you. Yeah, and this is PDOs, and automatically, so whoever has joined this session will be getting your PDOs credited in your account. So within a week, and please check if you have provided your correct PMI ID. If you do not receive any PDOs within a week, please write to events at pmipcc.org. Yeah. Yeah, and announcement is like we would want to enable everyone their cameras so that we can take a group picture of everyone so that we can share it on today's sessions while recording the session details. We can share it with everyone, so it would be helpful if everyone can enable your cameras so that we can take a group picture. So Rasagna, will you help me with this?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm ready.
thank you.
Still waiting for many more people to turn on.
Yes, yeah.
Get to turn into all faces. People, nice. My skin like faces are popping up. Good more.
And the uh, irony about Saturday evenings is most of us are not camera ready. So I think, yeah. So we need to accept that as well. Yeah.
I just want three people, so my screen will fill out faces. One, two more people. One, two more people. Yeah, one more people. One more person. Just waiting for one more person to on the camera. Yeah, I think we are good now. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, team.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone for your wonderful participation.
And
Thank you.
also,
Thank you very much.
Yes.
sorry, maybe like the people are dropping off. Before fine closing the call, please share your feedback of.
Feedback on this. Yes, for the today's session, it will help us improve the trainings and the sessions. What if you from our end as an event host, what are the improvements we can do? Please share your feedback on this. And this is our social media handle. You can go ahead and you can just check with all the sessions, previous recorded sessions, and even today's recorded session will be available on this our PMICC social media handle.
Please go back, Umesh, so the people are scanning the
Yes,
feedback.
please scan this and you can. Yeah,
Sure, sir, sure. Thank you. Thank you.
thank you. Yeah. So that's it from our end. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining, and once again, have a happy weekend ahead. Thank you.
Mhm.